So our next presenter is Chloe Sillebrock, Reset with Chloe. She is a mind and body coach, author, and a neurokinetic therapist. Chloe has worked with clients in a variety of settings, giving them the tools to reduce their physical pain and stress levels. She has a particular interest in working with scars and the nervous system to help restore function in the body. She now shares her unique method online to help strengthen your core and restore your body connection after a caesarean section or other surgery. She believes that the key to living a more fulfilling life is building a resilient mindset and learning how to embrace change so that we can start living a life by design, not by default.
Hello and welcome to this presentation on restoring your body connection after surgery of any type and C-section surgery. I'm Chloe Sillebrock and I'm thrilled to be here today. And you might be able to tell that I've got a French background, but I've been living in Australia for over 13 years now. And I've been working in the therapeutic massage industry for around that same time. So I'm also a scar and neurokinetic therapist. And I'm really passionate about the subject of today, which is scars and how they affect you, short-term and long-term, and especially how you can recover when you know the information that I'm going to share with you today. And today is a subject that is quite sensitive as everyone's experience can vary, but I hope you will feel empowered at the end of the presentation and know that there are solutions where the time comes. As every woman birth experience is unique, so it is a way we can help you as well. And I want to start this introduction with C-section, and knowing that a cesarean section is more common in high-income countries. As an example, Australia is around 35% of women giving birth by cesarean and 31% in America. And 85% of those women with previous C-section will have a repeat C-section. But like Lynn mentioned in our presentation, you still have choices. And this is just some statistics to show you how the scars are becoming more mainstream, but their effect is still dismissed and sometimes unknown. So just to give you a bit of insight, the World Health Organization recommendation for cesarean section is 10%, 10 to 15%. So we are way higher than the recommendation, and it doesn't look like this number is going down anytime soon. So the journey to a cesarean section birth can be as individual as each woman, and this presentation relates to C-section of any origin or any other major abdominal surgery, but I will be referring to scars associated with cesarean section birth. And no matter how your baby is going to come into the world, your body will need some tender loving care as well. And as you know, as the world is evolving, so the way babies are birthed. So now we're going to touch on scars' effect on the body. This is a very long subject. I try to dial it down so we can not spend too much time on this because it can be quite conflicting information, but it is important information. So some of the physical effects of scarring can include pain, itching, hypersensitivity, loss of feeling, numbness, burning, swelling, restriction in movement, like lifting your arms overhead or trying to bring your leg towards your chest if you're laying down, for example. And it can also include change in texture and color of the scar itself because the scar is depleted from blood flow and lymph flow. But it is possible to help sensitive and painful scars to normalize and to bring that blood flow and lymph flow back, which is great when you can do that. But it's important to remember that the time recommendation after the surgery before massaging your scar is around 6 to 8 weeks because you want to make sure of the skin integrity and not make anything worse and to make sure that the scar is healed at the skin surface. And something very important as well and very underestimated is the importance of the psychological and emotional effect of scars. and they are often dismissed. But when you're massaging your scar, you can help some of that emotional release, as long-held and suppressed emotion can rush to the surface. But they're rushing to the surface to be healed. So it is an actual good thing if it happens. And you might just have to stop the massage routine for a few days until you can process those emotions, and then you can start again. So it is not a straightforward thing that you can do, but you can take it, one step at a time. Now, there is a missing piece to this puzzle that the body is, and it's like my clients often tell me, but why is no one telling us those things? And the truth is, if you knew all of this, you might not need as many pain medication and other things. So sometimes that information is just not passed on, and we might find out about it years down the track, which was my case as well. Even though I was in this industry, that information was not passed on to me until way later, and that's when I completely changed my view on the body and on the way I worked as a whole. And so what is this missing piece? Is when you have a scar of any type, the scar becomes the part of the body that the brain is going to recognize. So in other words, your brain is not able to recognize the muscles that are underneath the scars. And so it means that the only way to bring some healing and a better response is to retrain the brain so it can know where your core muscles are after the surgery. And this is very important because lots of people just think that because the scar is healed at the surface level, their core is just magically going to come back. But it is not possible. The brain doesn't know how to go back to what was. And this information was mind-blowing for me. I was like, oh my God, why no one told me that before? And so I'm sharing it with you today so you understand that you might have to do some steps to help this process, but those steps are not difficult, but they need to be done in the right order for that neuroplasticity to take place. So in a nutshell, your brain doesn't know where your abs are anymore after surgery or any muscle that gets a scar, right? But if you massage the scar and do a specific activation of that muscle, you're bringing that proprioception, which is that message from the brain to the muscle. You're bringing that connection back. And this is what's important. So by using neuroplasticity principle, you can rewire the brain to reconnect to your body, especially if some parts feels quite disconnected. Massaging the scar is the first step, but often that is where that information has been stopped, meaning that no one is passing on what's next. And this is what I'm doing today, is to giving you a bigger picture of how you can help yourself when you understand those principles. And new mama left in the dark on how they're supposed to regain their strength, and especially their core strength, as society is expecting them to bounce back as quickly as possible and to just go back to their normal self. But often it doesn't happen as quickly as people expect because of that missing information. So I hope this is helpful for you. So yes, why some women bounce back more quickly? Now you understand why. Those long-term implications of scar can create compensatory use of other muscle and pain that can actually result from loss of connection because of the scarring. So in other words, if let's say I have a scar on my bicep, which is the muscle on my arm here, and I'm trying to do some bicep curls, so trying to bring my arm towards me. If I have this scar, my brain might not be able to recognize that muscle anymore, and I might be using my upper trap or my tricep instead. Think that this is possible in any part of the body, and that's when you're going to use your lower back instead of your core foremost thing, or often your neck. This is usually when I see women with lots of neck pain that is unresolved after many years, and one of the first questions I ask them, have you had surgery in your abdominal area? And the answer is often yes. So that's what it means by muscle compensation, is the brain is going to use what's accessible at the time, not what it used to use, because it doesn't have any access to that anymore. You have to help it with a new pathway, which can be the old pathway, but there is steps to that. So one solution is to exercise gently to restore strength, and that can be enough to recover. And some women just need exercise and it's fine. But like I say, every woman is different. Every recovery is going to be different. But if you see after a few months that you're frustrated because you're not getting the result, remember that those scars need to be normalized and reintegrated as part of the normal tissue. So this means that the brain is going to recognize the scar as normal skin, not stay put on that scar and use it as it was a muscle. It's going to be like, oh yeah, this is just normal skin. I can access the muscle underneath. And so that movement is going to be then repatterned at the brain level, and your brain is going to be able to use the right muscle for the movement. And this is when you're going to start to have some result when you're doing your workout routine. So do you see now why some women will recover more quickly after the pregnancy? They might not have as many scars or surgery as you, and so they are dealing with less disruptors. Their brain can recognize their core more easily as a result. Now, this is an interesting one. The hidden culprits. So today we are looking at how scars from surgery affect your core strength, but it is important to mention two possible or even three possible culprits in some people. Often overlooked belly button piercing can be a culprit in lack of core activation. And why? Because if you think about it, it is a scar in your belly button. And even if you take it off after a few years, you still are left with a scar. And they can affect your core activation because the same principle apply where your brain doesn't recognize some part of your muscle underneath the scar and start to overcompensate with other muscle, unless you start massaging that scar in the morning ideally, and that's going to help to bring some proprioception back. Now, another type of scar are tattoos. And don't get me wrong, I love tattoos, but they can affect you the same way. Surgical scars or piercing scars can affect you, but it doesn't mean that each of your tattoos is going to affect you. Some might more than others. So just be mindful of that. And you might just feel like more scar tissue underneath certain tattoos because they might have been going deeper with the needle, and so creating more scar tissue as a result. Those ones might be a bit more impactful than others, depending on the ink that it's been used and lots of other factors. So just same principle, trying to massage your tattoos as much as possible is going to help restore some of that messaging from the brain to the body. And when you do that, it's going to help to improve lymph flow, because scar, like we talked about before, can impact the lymph flow. Another hidden scar or scars that we don't often think about, and we had a lot of them lately, are those vaccines. And this is a big deal because if you think about it, they are giving you the vaccine through your middle deltoid muscle. And it's intramuscular, so it means that it's going through that connective tissue, which is the fascia. So it means that it's going to affect you the same way as a scar. What it means is the muscle where we get those vaccines is not being recognized as much anymore by the brain. So then you're going to the gym trying to do your shoulder exercise, and you might not be able to use those muscles as effectively as before. This is when it's going to start to show up into your upper traps, because this is what the brain is able to access instead. So same principle, trying to massage those scars and then trying to do this movement where you're bringing your shoulder up. It's going to help to restore that messaging once again. So with all this information, the good news is that things can be done and helped. And I hope you share this information with some of your family member or colleague, because things can be greatly improved when you know this information. And it's going to help you to regain some of that core strength or any type of muscle strength due to surgery or vaccine tattoos or piercings. And the great news as well is it doesn't matter how long you had those scars for, they can be improved today. As long as you massage them and reintegrate them as part of the body, it's going to help to recreate that connection. And the muscle underneath is going to be able to be brought back online in some ways for the brain to be able to recognize it. It will also help to improve blood flow and lymphatic flow for the whole body. So scar work can really help improve quality of life on so many levels, and that's why I'm really passionate about the subject. And another thing is, most humans, if we were to live until 85 years old, we will at least get 5 surgeries in our lifetime. So it is quite significant, because those scars will have some effect if we don't do anything about them. So now that you know all of this, what's next for you? I really hope that information has been valuable. And to help you further, I have a free guide on how to massage your scar. It's a 4-minute scar massage that you can get on my website. And it's very helpful. My clients love it. And if you do need some more guidance, I also created an online program which is called Co-Activation 101 After Surgery. So it's specifically for people who had some surgery of any kind done. And that's going to help demonstrate how to massage those scars and how to reactivate those muscles and work with vagus nerve stimulation and trying to calm the nervous system down. So a combination of a lot of the work I already do in person, but it has been curated for an online delivery, so you can do it from home and start to get some results at home if you don't have access to a therapist, or if you just like the way I explain things, then that can be really helpful. Knowing that you might not need my help right now, so because this type of information is most for postpartum or maybe years down the track, but know that this information is available. So reach out to me when the time is right, and you can contact me on my website directly at resetmindbodytherapy.com.au or on Facebook at Reset with Chloe _restoring body connection. So thank you so much for watching this presentation, and I hope you enjoy it.